welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, I'm Stephanie. For all my followers, you know that I am a huge romance lover. Actually, a lot of my followers are, because I used to post so many videos specifically about romance books. And I actually posted for the first time in a really long time my very first vlog back to my channel, and it was a winter vlog, and I actually had one subscriber, shout out to you, who just commented she loved seeing this type of content. And you know what, I am at a point right now where I have a lot of book recommendations I could give you. They're so good. A lot of them you maybe never even heard of, which I tend to believe they're the best ones. And I'm actually going to give you a book recommendation. So if you're interested in romance books, in just finding new books that are amazing, then this is the video for you. I don't know how many books I have, but it's maybe around 20. Okay, for anyone that is new, I, for the past 2 years, have been wanting to pretty much finish my TBR because I was a huge book buying girly. Like, I used to buy books so much. At one point I was like, okay, I'm always buying books, but realistically my TBR is like 120. At one point it was like 200 books, so I need to finish it. And then this past year in 2025, I managed, because I finished my TBR, that just means that I have a lot of books to recommend. And actually, this is really just a fun thing that I did. But in the month of December, if anyone knows, if you were one of those persons, I actually sold majority of my books and I kept owning my favorite books. So behind me, these shelves only contain literally my favorite books. I have a library of just my all-time love books. Blog, I did post just a little bookshelf tour. You could go check that out. But let's get straight into the books. This is my book club sweatshirt. Okay, we're gonna start with actually the very first book I read in 2025. It was so amazing. The fun part about having a book journal is that you could open it, the trusty journal. I'm gonna go through these books. I'm gonna try to give you the trope, tell you what it's about, and I'm gonna try to keep it minimum because I do have a lot of book recommendations. It was a 5-star for me, and actually I have here that it's like 4, probably like a 4.7, but it's high up there. One thing I have to give a warning about: it is not a happy ending. Be aware of that. It is a very much tragic love story, but it's such a good book that I still recommend it. This is technically the best way I can describe it to you guys. Think about Bruce Wayne, Batman, how he has a double personality, how he's this rich billionaire, but technically he's this hero at night fighting violence. This is this guy, literally down to the T. And one day when he's in his nightly activities, he comes across this girl and he saves her. And from that moment, everything just kind of switches and he's just very much into her. And it is a stalker romance, but it was just so good. I loved it. This next one is called The Syndicator. It's actually part of a series, so I do recommend the series to you guys. The Syndicator, gave it 4.7. This specific book is the final book in the series, which had just come out at the time, which is why it's here on my notebook and it's why I'm recommending it. But this is a dark verse series by Runix. It is mafia. Even though it's mafia, I don't feel like it's very action-packed, but it's more like story-driven, and I loved it. This is the epilogue book technically, so it's all the couples in this one book. So every few chapters, like, it switches to another couple and where they're at. It was so good. I loved it. We didn't get all the full answers we needed, but I still enjoyed it. Next one is called One Is a Promise, and it is a love triangle. It's also a trilogy, but I will say I only love book 1. If I would recommend it to people, you know, see it for yourself. But in my opinion, I wish I would have just read it up to book 1, because as I continued going, I was just like, nope. Danny, the heroine, she's grieving because her fiance has just died. And in the story, she's grieving, right? She's at a weird place. She gets this new job where she falls in love with her boss. And guess what happened? Why do I keep calling him her ex? Her fiance shows up. He's not really dead. And it's like this whole just trying to navigate like what's going on. Like my fiance technically is alive, but I'm in love with this guy. And I think the crazy part is actually the story, how it unfolds, because there's a lot more happening. Yeah, I really enjoyed book one and I loved book one, and I just wish it would have ended there. Ratings, you're gonna see that it's kind of similar, but for One is a Promise, I gave it 4.7. If you're reading it by then the book one, then you'll know who I'm rooting for. Then the next one is called Mine for a Moment. It's by Katharina Mora. I actually have a lot of her books here. She very much is one of my favorite authors. And we have Serenity, who is an artist. And by the way, this trope specifically is somewhat forbidden because it's her brother's best friend. Serenity moves in with her brother. Now, the brother is not there for business reasons, whatever. And I think something happens, and her brother's best friend lives in the same apartment complex, and things just start happening. Personally, me, I loved Archer. Anytime that Katharina writes, you know, like they're all billionaires, right? So it's just like swoony how far and like everything they do for them. For a Moment, I gave 4.5 stars. I have my favorite author. This is QB Tyler. She came out with The Nanny is Off Limits last year, and I gave it 4.7. It was really good. QB Tyler is specifically a forbidden author. I think she writes just like the perfect type of book because they're all really short, as in like 300 pages exactly. And I love that because it's so easy to just read, like immediately you're there, and it's such a good book. I will say though, she's heavy on the spice level. She's kind of known for that. I used to love that back in the day, but no longer read spice scenes. I just skip them, or I'll try to find books that don't have it. But since a lot of my authors do have that type of stuff, I just kind of skip over that. So just want to put that out. This one, obviously by the title, it's the fact that she's the nanny of this guy. Rowan needs a babysitter desperately. In comes Elena. I think that's how you're saying her name, Ellie. And the two just seem to fall in love. This one was a little bit lower for me in rating just because I wanted a little bit more. But I feel like with QB, you just kind of get what you get, and it's still good. We're willing, we're still in the forbidden side. This one I gave 4.5, and it's actually Liam who gains custody of his best friend's daughter. And this is one of my favorite tropes, literally dad's best friend, but the dad obviously in the story is dead. At 18, Zoe is attending the same college that, funny enough, Liam is a professor at. So there's a lot of tropes happening here. They literally try to stay away. I feel like a friendship forms first, but then like things just start happening and, you know, they fall in love. My gosh, you guys, this was so good. This is called Red Roses and Black Dahlias. It is forbidden also, but this one just was so good because there's such an interesting plot point that it's almost just like, forget about it, forget about the forbidden part. It's just more. This one, the story is just so out of, I just was mind blown by it. I was just like, I feel like I just watched the movie. I think this book is the one that stands out of all the books I read. I give this 5 stars, you guys. And I've never heard anyone talk about it, and when I read it, I was just like, this is the best thing. A bit forbidden, but there's like this just dark story happening under. So it's this girl called Sophia, and Sophia has always just gotten in trouble with the law. And our hero is actually a police officer. So Maddox is a cop. He's also a detective, like in that area. And he rescues her so many times, just getting her out of trouble. But finally, one day, and by the way, Sophia is the daughter of the mayor, and her family gets entirely killed. Like the dad, the mom, everyone gets unalive. What does Maddox do? He gets involved, obviously, because he gets the call of what just happened. By the way, this is the mayor, as I said. So the mayor just gets unalive. The whole family gets unalive. So she kind of goes into protection, witness protection, and Maddox just like, something happens in there where he just gets very overprotective of her. He's just like, I'm gonna protect you. But the story is just mind-blowing. I'm actually gonna go back to, I think, 2024, also by Katharina Mora. This is A Devious Husband. This is actually, I believe, the final book, which is called the Windsor series. And I loved it because this couple has been teased from book one. It's an interconnected standalone series. It's all billionaires. I'm talking about like the richest family you could think about. Oh good, I recommend pretty much every book in that series. I obviously own them. But this one, they have just been teased from the very beginning. And you know when a couple is just like being like, little hints are just dropped in every book, and it's like by the time you get to it, you're like, yeah, the hype was worth it. This is it. This is technically also similar vibes. They're rivals. They're like enemies to lovers, but it's also an arranged marriage. But it's also the fact that he's the best friend of her brothers, her older brothers, and she just has always hated him. Like things are just like they're always pulling pranks on each other, whatever. Xavier has always pretty much been in love with Ciara, and it was just, I don't know, it was truly just like the perfect final book to the series. But I recommend this. Okay, this next one is by Pam Godwin. It's Sea of Ruin. This one was my first romance that kind of takes place almost like historical romance. I just don't know if it actually counts. Maybe. It's also, weirdly enough, somewhat of a love triangle. It's enemies to lovers, and it's this girl. She's literally a pirate. Her name is Bennett. She's on the run from her husband, weirdly enough. His name is Priest, and he's like the biggest pirate. Like everyone knows this guy. He's deeply feared, and she's just on the run from him. On her way from running away from him, she encounters Ashley. And Ashley is actually, I can't remember his title, but he's pretty much hunting pirates down to take them down. It was so good. I was mind blowing. I was loving this book. Every page I was like, give me more, give me more. I didn't really love the ending. If you know, you know. I'm not really someone that loves love triangles. So a lot of time it'll be like, oh, she should have been with someone else. Like she should have been with this guy over this guy. I did give it 4 stars. So we have Twisted Hearts by Jericho. This is also Mafia. I gave it 4.5 stars. This was my favorite book out of the series. I really didn't enjoy the series, even though I'm a huge Mafia lover. I don't know, the series wasn't the best. But the best thing is that these books are pretty much just like interconnected standalone a lot of the time. These books follow like people in the family, friends, but some books, and you gotta make sure that you obviously read up on this, but a lot of the books you can read by itself, but then there's some books that it's recommended like you have to read it in order. This one you don't have to read in order. It's rival mafia families. This guy has been hated in pretty much every book. His name is Gavin, and he holds this secret that he knows that Eilish, our heroine, did. There's something she did, and he's the one that saw it. So he kind of holds it over her, which is enemies to lovers. And he just ends up falling hard for her. And the way he just fell for her made me love the book so much, where I was like, yep, this is good. I can't remember what type of mafia family he is, but I know Eilish is in the Greek mafia, if I'm correct. So it's like also kind of like 2 mafia families merged because of their love. Now we're finally to this year and up to this point, which I'm so excited about. I still have so many more books to give you. We have The Faking Game. So we have Nora. She is this model. She is like this famous, pretty much influencer, but she comes from a rich family, right? And she has a stalker. Just moved from Paris to New York, and her brother is just like, no, like you need security. She's just like, I don't need security. So he calls his best friend. He's like, hey, I need you to just look out for my sister. At first, Wes is just like, no, thank you. Like it's an annoyance, right? But as he starts like to show up, like, he starts to get overprotective. He's just like, no one can hurt you. Like, so they also plan somewhat of a fake dating to try to stop the guy from like, you know, she has a boyfriend. So maybe I should leave her alone, right? It also helps him because his mom is always trying to set him up with other women, gonna arrange a marriage, to have a marriage, and they kind of help each other out. But along the way, he falls obviously for her, and this romance starts in the fake dating. So it was really good. The Faking Game, I gave 4 stars. Next we have In Good Company by Kat Singleton. This is a new series by her. I love her books. I also have them up here, funny enough. This is somewhat forbidden because it's her ex-boyfriend's older brother. We have Callahan, who is in the Hamptons. By the way, this all takes place in the Hamptons. Well, Callahan is in the Hamptons every summer, right? And Lucy has just returned to the Hamptons to work as a professional chef. So she's kind of like under this chef currently working at this party, and the chef is being so rude to her. And Callahan just stands up. He's just like, Lucy, like, what are you doing here? And he doesn't like that the boss, the chef she's working under, is treating her so bad. So he offers her a job. And she ends up being his chef for the summer. And let's just say a romance takes place. It was so good. In Good Company, I gave 4.9. Next, we have another series. But they're, once again, if I mention them here, I'm either going to tell you if it's like you have to read the whole series, or if you just have to read like the one book. The Syndicator, as I mentioned, it was an epilogue book, so just be aware that you do have to read all the books to get to the Syndicator. Strawberry Patch Pancake House. I love the name. It's so quirky, it's so cute, and this is by Lori Gilmore. I give this 4 stars. If you know, you know, I'm not someone that loves rom-coms. I just don't. Like, there was a huge change, and there has been a change in the books I love now that I'm getting older, now that I'm at a different place in life, now that I follow Jesus. It's a lot different. And I do find myself enjoying here and there rom-coms, but I won't pick it up, if that makes sense. But this is the one author that I read her entire Dream Harbor series, and I have loved every single book. I thought they were so fun. I could see it being, in my opinion, it resembles Gilmore Girls. But this is the 4th book, and this is it's a single dad. Also, it's a nanny trope. So we have our famous chef. We're talking, he's a famous chef in Paris. And Archer has to come back to this small town because he finds out that he actually has a kid. And Olive is just the cutest little girl. And he didn't know he had a kid, and he gets there and he's just kind of like, I'm a Paris chef. Like, what am I going to do in this small town? So he hires Iris to be the nanny while he has this job at a diner. And he actually ends up being the chef at the diner. So it was a really fun, just quirky romance, trying to see him navigate that. But the thing is, the romance between Iris and Archer isn't the reason I love the book. I honestly could care a little bit less about them. It's more as a family who Archer, Iris, and Olive become. I just love seeing the family form. I gave the Strawberry Patch Pancake House 4 stars. And I literally put like love blooms in this family of 3. So there's that. The next book is the final book in this series as well. It's called The Gingerbread Bakery. This one was my personal favorite, you guys. I have been, once again, they kept hinting at them every book. And I was just like, I need their book. And this is between Annie and Mac. And Annie and Mac, it's enemies to lovers somewhat. More in her department. But she has hated Mac for every single book. You just, like, she doesn't want to see him. She, like, doesn't like him. And then we get to the book. Discover that they actually have a past, which is the reason she hates him. It's their best friend's wedding. So he's on the groom's side. She's in the bride's side. And they have to work together to get this wedding going. And you just see them slowly start to fall in love again, and it was just so much fun. I did give it 4.9. Okay, we still have so many more books, so I hope you're writing down notes and adding this to your Goodreads. Next I have is Consider Me. This is probably, I think, the only sports romance I actually have here, which is a hockey romance. And this is a whole series. I have not finished all the series. I have read only the first 2 books. I have only loved book 1 so far. And this one is literally a playboy reformed athlete. Like, this guy, Carter, used to just, you know, he has a past, a big past. And he actually has this friend in the hockey team. And his friend is married. And his friend's wife always brings Olivia, her best friend, to all these events, to all these things. So it's like a friend of a friend. And Carter immediately is just like, Olivia. Just Olivia. Simple as that. And he's just so goofy, so charismatic. And you see him like go from being a player to just be all about Olivia. And it was so fun. I really enjoyed this book. I do think it was long. And I actually ended up listening to the audio a lot. So just FYI, I gave Consider Me 4 stars. Next we have another rom-com, Surprising. And this one, I actually read it because I had an arc, like a physical arc. This is called Forget Me Not. And this is I gave this 4 stars. We have Amma, who is a wedding planner. And she's trying to get her company to just flourish, right? And then we have our hero, and he's the florist of weddings, pretty much. Amma just dislikes Elliot she doesn't want to work with him, and she just has this strict rule, like, we're not going to work with this florist, we're going to work with all the other florists in this town but not him. Then there comes a wedding, and it's an influencer's wedding, and the one request they have is like, we want Elliot to do our flowers, and Alma just has to work with him. She's kind of stuck with him. And let's just say it was like so good. This is the one rom-com where I'm just like, this was amazing. Like, I loved it. Like, she literally just couldn't stop her feelings from going. Next we have Never Gonna Lie. This is a forbidden dad's best friend romance. This was 4 stars. You may see a pattern going on here. This one I really enjoyed, but I wouldn't say I loved it, but it was definitely good. James and Raven, and they have like this really close, you know, just typical friendship if anything. And things change because Raven's life becomes threatened. By the way, these are billionaire, millionaire, they're rich. They have these, her dad has this company, whatever. So she starts to get targeted, and Raven's dad calls James because they live in the same city while she's in college. And she's like, hey, can you just like keep an eye out for her because things are happening, this and that. And as things start to progress, James just once again takes a overprotective step in. And things like, he moves her into his house, he's just there for her, things happen, they try to avoid it, but they fall in love. Then we have QB Tyler. She actually just released this book maybe a month ago, a couple weeks ago. And this is Wilder Saint. It's also a forbidden romance. Like I said, she's kind of the queen of forbidden. I give this 4.5. I really love this book. I literally read it in one single day. Majority of QB's books I always end up reading in one single day. This is Hallie and Sebastian's story. It is step siblings, and her dad and his mom, they were getting married, or they had just gotten married. So they met literally when she was maybe like 4 years old and he was 5 years old. And one day they go to this grocery store with the dad. And unfortunately, the dad gets unalived. And it's pretty much this tragic story of how, like, technically she loses her only family. Then she just stays with Sebastian and his mom. She never gets legally adopted. She's just there. The mom is pretty much her guardian. But as they get older, feelings start to develop. They're pretty much each other's best friends. And then we get to the point when they're in their 20s and they're just like, we can't do this. And Hallie just wants an actual relationship with him. And he's just like, but our family's not going to understand it. No one's going to understand it. And throughout the book, you just see them navigate that, how, whether they're going to become a couple or they're just going to walk away from each other. Her books are pretty quick. You kind of just go through them. You're not always going to get like a full-blown story, which sometimes I do wish we had. But if you just need something quick, something good, this is it. We're on to the final books. We still have a lot more. We have Unhinged Callie. Now, I actually had a reading vlog. I don't know if it's up anymore because I took down a couple of my videos. But I actually have her dad's book here, and then I have her book here. And I loved it because it is forbidden. Funny enough, it is step siblings as well. Callie comes from a family of serial killers. I guess like just an insight to book 1. He becomes someone that instead of just killing people, he kills bad people. So then in her book, you see like her whole family, they're just serial killers. And obviously she is kind of gonna become that. But we actually have our hero Carter. And Carter was actually saved by her mom and her dad. And they kind of grew up as siblings. Everyone sees them as siblings, but technically he was just someone that her parents saved at a young age. And she has this like obsessive, like stalkerish, like love for him, where she's just like, you're mine. That's simple as that. And Carter just has to navigate not even the love because he loves her back, but he's just navigating the fact that she is a serial killer. And also the fact that, like, is her dad gonna accept me because he's a serial killer too? I give it 4 stars. Shattered Hearts. This is a mafia romance. I gave it 4.5. Once again, it was really good. Took me by surprise. A little bit forbidden because this is the story of Finn, and Finn is in the Irish mafia. He is the son of the couple. He's pretty much gonna take over, and he's gonna get an arranged marriage. And we have Riley, but Riley's a twin sister of the girl that he's supposed to marry. Now, we have Finn, who shows up at his wedding, but his bride, she just left. She's gone. So her dad calls Riley, like, I need you to get to this wedding because you're gonna marry this guy. Like, your sister left. So she shows up thinking, like, okay, I'll just marry him because she left the mafia. I'll just marry him. When my sister like comes back, like, that's her husband. Keep in mind, though, a little secret here is that she has always had feelings for Finn from a young age, or I should say when she was in her teenage years, because it's an age gap as well. And it was so good. He, at first, they're just like, nope, like, you know, strict line over here, you're like, we're separate. But things take a turn and they end up falling in love, and it was really good. Then we have this duet. This, I actually have one of the books here. This is My Dark Ever After. The first book is called My Dark Fairy Tale, and this is by Gianna Darling, and I really enjoyed both of these books. I actually believe both of them are like a strict 4-star. The thing is, I read book 1 in Florence, Italy for my birthday, which was in August, and I loved it. And I think I love it because I was in Florence and the book is based off Florence. It takes place there. I did that purposely. But the reason I feel like it's a 4-star, I feel like I have a somewhat frustration but love relationship with it, because I love the story. I love our hero Rafa. He's the main capo of the Camorra mafia, in specifically the northern Italian region. And we have Guinevere. I do not know how to say her name, but she's actually from Michigan. Her dad has always just been like, you cannot go to Italy, like, I forbid you. Guess what? She ends up going. And the reason I have a frustration with this duet is because this girl kind of pisses me off. She does some questionable decisions that I'm just like, what? Like, where's your mind? Which, funny enough, Rafa always likes to say that she's so smart, and I'm just like, maybe, but sometimes she just does dumb things. Either way, I love Rafa. He is like perfect in my opinion. Like, I love this guy. When she meets him, she just thinks he's this like Italian guy, a business guy. She doesn't know he's in the mafia. She falls in love in book 1. She discovers that he's in the mafia, and things take a turn. And then we enter book 2. Because I can't say too much because it could be spoiler, I'm gonna just leave it at that. But just know it's a duet. And in book 2, you just see more of the mafia aspect then. Gianna Darling always just knows how to write a book, especially mafia. Okay, we're down to the last 4 books, but it's only gonna be really quick because it's actually a series. And I recommend the entire series, you guys. I have the Sullivan series. If you saw my winter vlog, you saw that I was reading it. I was I think in book 2 maybe. This actually has 5 books. The first one is a novella. It depends, but novellas could be like, okay, do I have to read it, do I not? I actually recommend this novella just because it's really quick. And I feel like it introduces the small town, it introduces the families, and it just puts you right where you need to be to know what you're walking into. You obviously don't have to read it, but I recommend it. It's a quick story. But then we have book 1, which is called One Look. We have One Touch, we have One Chance, and then we have One Night. Let's just say all of these were a good 4.5 star for me. The one that stands out to me the most, One Touch. This I gave 4.9, super close to a 5-star. I do think it's my favorite book. So book 1, we actually have somewhat of a nanny trope. And I say that because we have Wyatt, and he's an ex-NFL athlete. He's now a coach at Michigan University. And he's so busy because this is his new job, and he has a daughter. And I actually don't know her name, but she's called Pickle. That's her nickname in the book. And this series takes place in a small town, and it's so quirky. I love it. I love the characters. And funny enough, it's also a rival family. So we have this family, the Sullivan family, and then we have another family in the small town, which they're rivals. The other family is called the King series, and I actually have book 1 here of it that I just got. But let me go back to this book. He's trying to navigate his new job. He's trying to navigate his daughter, and he needs pretty much somewhat of an assistant. So she's kind of like his assistant that helps him with his calendar, but also she kind of watches his daughter. So Lark is just this professional mourner, and it was so funny to kind of read that. And let's just say they fall in love. He tried hating her, but they fall in love. We go to my favorite book of the series. This is somewhat forbidden if I think about it, because we have Katie, and Katie falls in love with Beckett, who is the older brother of her ex. And Beckett and her just kind of hate each other. But her aunt needs desperately like a house renovation. And Beckett obviously works in construction. He has his own business. And he's also best friends with her older brother. So it's also a little bit of that type of forbidden. And they hate each other. They're at each other's throat. Just seeing them renovate the house, fall in love, it was so good. I ate it up. And then we have One Chance. This one I thought would be my favorite. It wasn't, but I really enjoyed it. This is a best friends to lovers romance. We have Lee and Annie. They've been best friends since forever. And in all the books, you just see like his brother look at Lee, and they're just like, when are you gonna see what's in front of you? Like, do you not see her? Like catch up. And in this book, there's actually a fake dating trope, because in this small town, they have this charity gala thing. It's a matchmaker gala. So they auction off like dates. If you have ever watched Gilmore Girls, The Heart of Dixie, and you know those like charity like picnic dates, and it's like for charity, that's kind of what happens here. They decide to fake date because they don't want to do this. And let's just say Lee finally sees her. And Lee was this big player, but now he's just all about her. And he's just like, I'm going to show her that this is real, that this could be real. So that was a romance in this book. The last book in the series, the last book I have for you guys is called One Night. We have Duke. Duke is the older brother, and he is a farmer. And we have actually the sister, one of the sisters in the King series. As I mentioned, there's a rival family, you guys. And in this rival family, it's once again a bunch of brothers, and there's two sisters. And Sylvie King is considered this cold girl. Duke is literally the most grumpiest guy ever. We have like the weirdest pairing, but they kind of formed this friendship one day out of nowhere. For a whole year, they're just texting, and no one can find out. Like, we're talking this, like the small town is literally divided. Either you're a Sullivan or you're a Kings. Even the bars, like you can only sit in this seating or in this seating depending on which family you belong to. And they have kept friendship a secret. Obviously, they're both into each other. At one point, you guys, I'm talking about at one point, Duke is just like, I need more. So they secretly meet up. Now, this is the thing. If you know me, you know me. I hate a pregnancy trope. When I went into the series, did not read none of the tropes, did not read the back of the book. I just went into it reading them because I was enjoying them. Unfortunately, as you open book one, and I'm pretty sure the synopsis says it in the back as well, it does say it's a pregnancy trope, so you'll know. It's not even me spoiling it to you. And for a second I debated, because I was like, do I want to read this? Because I do not like this. I do not like pregnancy tropes. It's just not for me. But I decided to read it. I was like, okay, I'm going to just read it. And surprisingly, it was okay. I think it's my least favorite book for sure. But I enjoyed it. I love, because usually with me, with pregnancy tropes, I feel like it's like they just jump into it because of that, because they have a baby now. But this one, because it was a friendship formed over a year before anything happens, I loved it. And I enjoyed it for that reason. So this is my final book. Waiting to finish this series so I can make this video for you guys, because there's so many good recommendations in here, and I hope you were able to find the good at least 2-3 books. And I'm excited because even though I'm only going to post vlogs from now on, as I mentioned on my channel, 4 videos. We have a winter vlog, a fall vlog, a summer vlog, and a spring vlog. I'm currently in the middle of filming my spring vlog. Getting that comment really helped me, because I think I could do this maybe every once in a while. When I have a good amount of book recommendations, I can make a video and just keep you updated with which books I really do love and want to share with you guys. I have now taken a step back from reading how I used to back then. I was so talking about like reading 100 to 200 books in a year. I was reading so many books, and I have taken a step back to just really enjoy reading now. So now I prioritize quality over quantity, and it's been the best decision I could have ever made. So this is it, and I hope you guys enjoy, and you can see me in my vlogs. Bye guys.